Hello, everyone. The goal of this presentation is to talk about the attacks that were performed in a Wi-Fi network, and the methods that were used for the attacks were a predefined dictionary and also a brute force method. So we are going to see an overview about the attacks, the tools and apps that we used to run these attacks, the demo, and also some conclusions, recommendations, and references. So first of all, it's important to say that securing a WPA2 encrypted Wi-Fi network is really important to prevent unauthorized access and potential attacks to the network. Also, password hacking has become more sophisticated because of the GPUs that are becoming faster and also because of the devices that are forcing the users to create more complicated passwords with numbers, both upper and lowercase letters, symbols, and etc. However, as security measures increase, the user friendliness often decreases. So the tendency is to neglect security recommendations when we talk about the users. The overview of the attacks performed in this project. So we are going to demonstrate how easily a Wi-Fi network can be compromised through a dictionary attack and also through a brute force method attack. Often take just a few seconds to perform the attack depending on the complexity of the password. So the objectives of this project are to hack a WPA2 encrypted Wi-Fi network using a predefined dictionary. Two, to hack the same network by using a brute force method with local and cloud GPU resources. And last but not the least, to raise awareness and provide practical security recommendations. The two tools and apps that we used to perform this demo. We used a router that is a TP-Link AC1750 wireless dual band gigabyte. The model is Archer C7. As the operation system, we used Kali Linux in the version 2023.3 and also an USB adapter in the monitor mode, which is an alpha. Besides that, we used some apps or commands inside Kali Linux, and they are the iwconfig to check wireless network, airmom to start the monitor mode, aerodump that is designed to capture any packet in the vicinity when in monitor mode, and aerocrack, which goal is to break passwords by intercepting packets and decoding hashes, and airplay to close connections. Up next, we are going to see the demos.
Hello everyone, I'm Jin. On this section, we will perform the attack demo. Firstly, let's set the stage. We will connect a smart device to the router using Kali Linux. Then we will monitor the traffic flowing through the router. After that, we will initiate the authentication process of the device. And as a result of this, the device will attempt to authenticate again, and that is gonna provide us with a chance to capture the handshake. Now let's move to Kali Linux. Using the IWU config, we will check our wireless adapter, which is set right now in manage mode. To switch it to monitor mode for capturing router traffic, we will use the airmon command as shown in the screen. To assure that is set correctly, we will use the IWU config again. Next, in order to monitor the traffic from our Wi-Fi adapter, we utilize the AeroDump tool. This tool provides us with a list of the devices in the vicinity. Remember to use it with sudo. In this specific instance, we are using the TP-Link router. Once we have it, we can pause the process to obtain the SSID we intend to use. The idea is to monitor only the specific router and the devices connected. So we give additional parameters like the router SSID in order to filter. And please remember sudo. Once we execute the command, we wait a bit to have the device connected so we can stop the process. On this part, just take note of the smart device SSID because we're gonna use it later. Now let's move to capture the traffic. For this, AeroDump is used. We just need to specify the channel with the parameter C and the channel 2. Then the output path. The router SSID, and finally the adapter. In this part of the process, we need to deauthenticate the smart device to capture the handshake. We use the AirPlay command. Deauthenticate 0 means that it's gonna send unlimited packets. Then we need to give the router SSID, then the smart device SSID, the adapter, and remember to use sudo. Now we need to monitor the process tab until we can see handshake in the top right. Yep, we have it. Then we can stop the authentication process. This is gonna drop some files and we are gonna use the cap file. Now let's move to the aircrack tool so we can crack the cap file that we obtain. We just put the cap file and then the password list. On this case, I'm gonna use a short password list. And we have it. This is a 8-digit password. This is very similar as a default password. Now let's perform a brute force to the cap file. We are gonna use hashcat. Firstly, we need to convert the cap file to a specific format. So we use the hashcat utilities from Kali. using these commands shown in the screen. Once we have the converted file, we move it to Windows in order to use a graphic card at the maximum potential. Now with the hashcat, using the parameter -I, we can check the devices that we have available. In this case, we are going to use the NVIDIA GeForce 3080. On this part, we use M2500. This is related to the hash file WPA2. And also we need to activate this module. Then A3 means the brute force. D2, the second device, the file that we obtain, and then the char set. In this case, we're gonna give 8-digit length password to do it faster. We have accelerated the video, but this was performed in 2 minutes and 34 seconds. So we got the password. Just a big note, remember to be careful because this can overheat your graphic card. Try to activate the heat sensor from your control panel. In addition, you can use GPUs as a service that could be better, faster, and according to your needs. That will be all. And now let's move to the final part.
Awareness. Now let's discuss some awareness and recommendations we might have when thinking about wireless networks. Physical securities. Keeping the router in a secure location is extremely important to prevent unauthorized access. Man in the middle and eavesdropping. Wi-Fi signals and communication can be intercepted and manipulated. Use WPA3 encryption to protect you against eavesdropping and ensure that the router firmware is up to date to mitigate the known vulnerabilities. Password cracking and brute force. Weak passwords are susceptible to brute force attacks. Limiting the number of login attempts or account lockouts when available can help prevent brute force attacks. Packet sniffing. Attackers may use packet sniffing tools to capture and analyze data transmitted over network. Again, encryption and secure protocols help protect against packet sniffing. Disabling SSID broadcasting can also make it harder for attackers to find your network. Unsecured IoT devices. Internet of Things devices can be vulnerable entry points. Change default passwords on IoT devices, update their firmware regularly, and segment the network to isolate IoT devices from critical systems. Unpatched firmware. Router manufacturers often release firmware updates that fix security vulnerabilities and improve performance. Keeping the router firmware up to date can help prevent attackers from exploiting known vulnerabilities. WPS vulnerabilities. Wi-Fi Protect setup can have vulnerabilities that may allow attackers to gain unauthorized access. Disable WPS whenever possible. Recommendations. Change the default password and use a strong password. Change the default login credentials for the router to prevent unauthorized access. Use a solid and unique password for the router and Wi-Fi network. Avoid using common words or phrases that can be easily guessed. Disable SSID broadcasting. This feature hides the network name from the list of available networks, making it less visible to attackers. Enable WPA3 encryption, one of the most critical recommendations. WPA3 is the latest and most secure Wi-Fi encryption protocol. It provides better protection against brute force attacks and make it harder for attackers to intercept data. Enable MAC address filtering, another critical recommendation. MAC address filtering allows to specify allows to specify which devices can connect to the network. This can help prevent unauthorized access to the network. Regularly checking network activity. As a best practice, periodically checking network activity can help detect unauthorized access. Limited login attempts. Limiting the number of login attempts can help prevent brute force attacks. Guest network. Create a guest network with limited access to the main network, reducing the risk of unauthorized access. Use a firewall. A firewall can help prevent unauthorized access to the network by blocking incoming traffic from unknown sources. Digital certificates. Only devices issuing a valid digital certificate are authorized to access the network. Configuring certificate-based authentication for a wireless network can be complex and requires some technical expertise. Conclusion. Wi-Fi security plays a crucial role in overall network security. To enhance the security of your wireless network, it is recommended to employ the most recent security protocols like WPA3 encryption. Additionally, it's essential to utilize a strong and distinctive password for your network. Consistently update your router firmware and constantly monitor network activities. Taking measures such as turning off SSID broadcasting and activating MAC address filtering can further mitigate the risk of unauthorized access to your network.